Welcome back to Plays I Like. I'm Lee Wakefield from the Touchdown NFL podcast. Hope you enjoyed the first episode from the season opener in Kansas City, the Josh Reynolds catch in that game between the Lions and the Chiefs. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a play from the Colts game versus the Texans. What I'm going to show you is an Anthony Richardson run. Obviously, there's going to be plenty of touchdowns scored by Anthony Richardson via this method. And I'm showing this to you guys because not only is it a great play design, but also because I feel like the matchup between Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson is just going to be a marriage made in heaven, really. So to kind of give you guys a little bit of a background in this game, if you've not already seen it, Richardson had already scored on a QB draw that Steichen had drawn up earlier in the game. He'd already thrown in a couple of zone reads and things like that to weaponize Richardson's mobility, pretty much as they did from week one, really. And that was one thing that really stood out from Anthony Richardson, that he is obviously insanely athletically gifted. So the game is 7-0 to Indy via that touchdown from Richardson that I just mentioned, and they're on the Houston 15-yard line after CJ Stroud fumbled on his own 15-yard line. So this is 1st and 10. There are 9 minutes and 13 seconds left in the first quarter. This is not a great situation for the Texans, obviously, to say that. So giving the ball to the Colts in the red zone, in the high red zone, which means the playbook is just wide open for them. They're going to be able to use a good amount of space, and the field isn't condensed as much. So pretty much everything's open to them, including the zone read, QB run. All the playbook is open, so the whole box of tricks that Shane Steichen can dive into is open to them. I'm just going to play the video on a little bit just so I can show you guys the play art that I've drawn up. And firstly, I'll show you the Colts. So the Colts, what they're going to do is they're in 11 personnel. And what they've got here is a stack formation at the top of the screen. This is Michael Pittman, and then behind him is Josh Downs. Over to the left-hand side of the formation, third wide receiver in the formation is Alec Pierce. Then you've got just typical 11 personnel with one tight end, Kylan Granson, on the left-hand side of the offensive line, in line as a wide tight end. And you have Zach Moss offset to the strong side, with Richardson obviously in the backfield in the shotgun. And then what we're going to have is we're going to have down here on the left-hand side of the screen, at the bottom of the screen, we've got Alec Pierce just running a clear-out route. And this is really, really key, and I'll come on to that a little bit later on. To match up with that, we've got the Texans, who are playing a version of cover one man. With man across the board, kind of a confusing way that they ran it. Obviously, this one from the number 3 linebacker here, who I believe is Denzel Perryman, kind of coming across to Kylan Granson. It's kind of confusing to me because it doesn't really match up. If you took away the red lines that I've drawn on them, you'd completely believe that they would just match this up with Perryman on Richardson, Granson, and Zach Moss being covered by the other 2 linebackers, which I think actually is DeAndre Houston Carson, who is a safety who's called up from the practice squad, which again will play into this play later on as you see this kind of develop. But we've got MJ Stewart in the backfield as the middle of field defender, the post safety, and everyone else is pretty much manned up. You can tell that by defenders' feet are pointing towards the receivers, and also they kind of lined up straight directly across from each other. Kind of easy. Hope you guys can see the numbers that I've drawn there. I kind of tried to make it a little bit better with the lines that I drew. So I'm just going to kind of rewind this back to show the Colts play out again just a little bit. So just kind of explain this play as it kind of before it unfolds. As I mentioned before, we've got Alec Pierce down at the bottom of the screen. He's going to just run this clear out route, which is fantastic because you'll see motion coming from the top with Josh Downs orbiting around the back of Richardson and then out to the left-hand side of the field, with Zach Moss then acting as like a lead blocker. As you can see from my yellow blocking art, the offensive line is just completely sliding to the left, and Michael Pittman on the top of the screen, the only other remaining player that I've not spoke about, apart from Granson and Richardson, which is the key to this play, is going to block down and crack onto any linebackers, which again happens in a big way, as I'll show you a little bit later on in the play. The Richardson fake is also fantastic. The way that he plays this to Downs and is again key to this play. So there's lots of things going really, really well for Shane Steichen and the Colts in this. What we're going to find though is Kylan Granson is the key blocker, the lead blocker for Richardson, and he's going to walk into the end zone a little bit later on. So let's kind of fast forward this for you guys and get into the play and watch this develop. All right, so the play is rolling here. Josh Downs going in that motion. Richardson with a great fake. You'll see there that all of these linebackers, all of these Houston defenders are being taken up by the offensive line and also flowing completely to the strong side of the formation. Alec Pierce at the bottom, if you keep your eyes on him, he'll just run this clear out. He's not there to catch the ball at all. This is never, ever a pass play. He's just there to clear that space, clear that corner out. And if that was going to be the run play to Josh Downs, you're going to basically have loads of grass to run into, and then it's a couple of linebackers versus the wide receivers coming around on the jet sweep, and one blocker in front of him to match 2 for 2. And then you just kind of see who can kind of get the better of that one. Fast forward this on for you guys, and what we get is Richardson out in the open with Kylan Granson in front of him, with only Derek Stingley in front of him. Kylan Granson's about 240-pound tight end. Derek Stingley's sub 200 corner. Not a great matchup for the Texans, we might say. And then we've got MJ Stewart, who's desperately trying to make up ground from that post safety spot, who's the only guy who can now catch Richardson as he continues and walks into the end zone. He's even able to gear down before scoring. Let's take it to the end zone view then. So as we see here, starting formation for the Colts, looking kind of nice. Wind the play on, you see this motion, great fake. And what we're going to see here is another thing that I've drawn up for you guys in the way that this works absolutely perfectly. In the black circle, you can see all these players are out of the play. There is no way that these players can affect the play. They've all been faked out by the motion, by the offensive line's movement to the left as well. And you've got in the top there, the post safety. I just want to highlight MJ Stewart's motion towards that blow as well. All of his weight is going to the right-hand side where that arrow is pointing. All his foot is on that right, all his weight, is on that right foot. He cannot affect the play. And you can see Richardson with the arrow going completely the opposite way, and he's already 5-6 yards further to the side that he wants to go. And it's Anthony Richardson. He doesn't need a hand in this at all. And then finally here in the blue circle, we've got that amazing crack block by Michael Pittman. Absolutely obliterates Denzel Perryman on this play. And we'll fast forward it and we know what happens for the rest of this play. Anthony Richardson absolutely waltzing in for the touchdown. All right, then, here we have it. So Shane Steichen just showing that he knows how to tailor the offense to Anthony Richardson, just allowing him to score for the second time in the game. He just suits the style, the characteristics of his mobile quarterback. He showed this in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts. Richardson's currently in concussion protocol, so it'll be interesting to see how the Colts get on if he misses time, because obviously Gardner Minshew, whilst he's got some ability, isn't in the same caliber of runner as Richardson himself, doesn't have nearly the same athleticism. And for Richardson himself, he's ahead of the curve in terms of the maturity he's shown as a passer through a game and a bit, which is really, really encouraging. And plays like this show that he's always going to have a really, really high floor because of his rushing ability. And as I said before, and the whole point of this is because of the marriage between play caller and quarterback and how much of a weapon that rushing can be, especially in the red zone or the gold zone just outside the red zone when the Colts are looking to score. And it works perfect effect in this play. That has been plays I like. Number 2, Anthony Richardson. Hope we see you soon. Hope your concussion is not feeling too bad. And we'll see you next time for the next one.